Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English, Basics for Beginners. We are now starting with chapter 79 of the Quran, Surah An-Naziyat, Those Who Tear Out. We're looking at the summary from Maulana Sayyid Abul Ala Maududi Rahmatullah Alayhi in the book Tafhim al-Quran, the meaning of the Quran. If you prefer more academic discussion and a more detailed tafsir, please consult works like Ma'arif al-Quran, over 8 volumes. Right, the word chapter is named after the word one naziyat with which the surah opens. The period of revelation, it belongs to the earliest period of Mecca. Right, let's look at the theme and subject matter. The theme of this chapter is what is common with all the chapters of the Quran in the last section of the Quran, has got to do with the affirmation of resurrection and the life in the hereafter. It is a constant reminder that don't forget about the next life, right? It also warns of the consequence of belying the messenger of God. The surah opens with oaths sworn by the angels who take the souls at death. Just trying to get a pointer. Sworn who take the soul at death, and those who hasten to carry out Allah's commands, and those who conduct the affairs of the universe according to divine will, to assure that the resurrection will certainly come to pass, and the second life after death will certainly take place. For the angels who are employed to pluck out the soul today can also be employed to restore the soul tomorrow. And the angels who promptly execute Allah's commands and conduct the affairs of the universe today can also upset the order of the universe tomorrow by orders of the same God, and can also bring about a new order. Right. After this, the people have been told so as to say, this work which you regard as absolutely impossible is not any difficult for Allah, for which He may have to make lengthy preparations. Just a single jolt, kun fayakun, will upset this entire system of the world and the entire universe. And a second jolt will be enough to cause you to appear as living beings in the new world. Israfil alayhi salam will blow once, everything will die, everything will be destroyed. And when Israfil alayhi salam blows the second time, a new world will appear. And you will stand in front of the Creator. At that time, the same people who will want to deny it would be trembling with fear and seeing with awestruck eyes all that they thought was impossible. Then, relating the story of the Prophet Moses and Pharaoh briefly, the people have been warned to the effect, you know full well what fate the Pharaoh met in consequences of belying the messenger and rejecting the guidance brought by him, and endeavoring to defeat his mission by trickery and deceit. Everyone knows what has happened to him. If you do not learn any lesson from it, and you do not change your ways and attitude accordingly, you will also have to meet the same fate. Then in verses 27 to 13, arguments have been given for the hereafter and the life after death, after the resurrection. In this regard, the deniers have been asked a simple question. Is your resurrection a more difficult task, or the creation of this huge, immense universe which spreads around you to infinite distances with myriads of its stars and planets? And the scientists tell us that this trillions upon trillions of galaxies, each containing trillions and trillions upon stars in this ever expanding universe. The universe is absolutely huge. I'm just trying to get our focusing sorted out there. Right, alhamdulillah. Thus, after presenting in a single sentence a decisive argument for the possibility of the hereafter, attention has been drawn to the earth and its provisions that have been arranged in it for the sustenance of man and animal, and for which everything testifies that it has been created with great wisdom for fulfilling some special purpose. Pointing to this, the question has been left for the intellect of man to ponder for itself and form the opinion whether calling man to account after having delegated authority and responsibility to a creature like him in this wise system would be more in keeping with the demands of wisdom, or that he should die after committing all sorts of misdeeds in the world, and should perish and mix in the dust forever, and should never be called to account as to how he employed the authority and fulfilled the responsibilities entrusted to him. Instead of discussing this question, verses 34 to 41, it has been said, when the hereafter is established, man's eternal future will be determined on the criterion as to which of them rebelled against his God, transgressing the bounds of service, and made the material benefits and pleasures his sole objective in life, and which of them feared standing before his Lord, and refrained from fulfilling the unlawful desires of the self, or the animal nafs, which is only involved in gluttony and sex, as we see in the Western nations. This by itself provides the right answer to the above question to every such person who considers it honestly free from any stubbornness or haughtiness. For the only rational, the only logical, and the only moral demand of giving authority and entrusting responsibilities to man in the world is that he should be called to account on this very basis ultimately, and rewarded or punished accordingly. In conclusion, the question of the disbelievers of Makkah as to when resurrection will take place has been answered. They asked Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sallam this question over and over and over again. In reply, it has been said that the knowledge of the time of its occurrence rests with Allah alone. The messenger is there only to give warning that it will most certainly come. Now, whoever wishes may mend his ways, fearing its coming, and whoever wishes may behave and conduct himself as he or she likes, fearless of its coming. When the appointed time comes, those very people who loved the life of this world and regarded its pleasures as the only object of life, as we are seeing with the horrific Epstein files, would feel that they had stayed in the world only for an hour or so. Then they will realize how utterly they had ruined their future forever for the sake of the short-lived pleasures of the world. That brings us to the end of the summary. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.